Hello everyone, so welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with new video, EIA classifications. Here you will understand different types of EIA like sectoral, regional and so on. So let's start. So how are EIAs classified? So there are two ways to classify EIA, by purpose and theme. Means based on what the EIA is about, then by systematic analysis based on how the EIA is done. So in one line we would say EIA is classified by what it studies and how it studies. So first classification is by purpose and theme. So EIA is divided based on what type of impact we want to study. We choose the type of EIA depending on which area is affected: environment, people, money, etc. The first is climate impact assessment. It studies how a project affects the climate. Example, a factory may increase temperature or greenhouse gases. Second is demographic impact assessment. It studies how a project affects the population. Example, a new industry may bring more people, leading to increase in population. Development impact assessment. It looks at how the project affects overall development. Example, a highway may improve transport and growth in an area. Ecological impact assessment. It studies effect on nature, that is plants, animal ecosystems. Example, building a dam may destroy forest or wildlife habitats. Economic and fiscal impact assessment studies impact on money, economy, and government finances. For example, a project may create jobs or increase government revenue. Health impact assessment. It studies how the project affects human health. Example, pollution from factories may cause diseases. Risk assessment. It identifies the possible dangers or risks. Example, a chemical plant may have risk of explosion or leakage. Social impact assessment. It studies effects on society and people's lives. For example, a project may displace people or change their lifestyle. Strategic impact assessment. It studies impact of big plans, policies or programs. Example, government planning a new industrial zone. Technology assessment. It studies the impact using new tech it studies the impact of using new technology. For example, new machines may reduce pollution or increase it. EIA is classified based on how the study is done, like what method is used, what approach you are using. So, in simple words, we are not focusing on what is affected, we are focusing on how we analyze the impact. So, types of EIA by systematic analysis. First is strategic EIA, SEIA. It is done at high level. It is used for policies, plans, programs. It happens before projects are decided. Example, government planning a new industrial policy. Regional EIA, it focuses on a specific geographical area, or you can say region. It studies the impacts in a whole area, not just one project. Example, impact of multiple industries in one city or region. Sectoral EIA, it focuses on a particular sector, means particular type of industry. It looks at one field like transport, mining, energy. Example, studying environmental impacts of the power sector. Project level EIA, it focuses on a single project and most common type is this EIA. Okay, so project level EIA is the most common type of EIA. Example, building a dam, road or a factory. Life cycle assessment. It studies the entire life of a product or project from start to use till its disposal. Example, plastic bottle, its production, its usage, its waste impact. So EIA is also based on environmental conditions, location, capacity limits, and type of activity. Means different methods are used depending on situation and data. Strategic EIA, SEIA. So this is type of EIA that works at a higher level, means before the projects start. It refers to systematic analysis of environmental effects of various policies. It is a planned and organized study of environmental impact of policies, means rules made by the government, plans, future development ideas, programs, group of related activities, and other strategic actions, means big decisions. Example, government is planning a new industrial policy. So SEIA will study its environmental impact. Then SEIA is done early before final decisions are made. Upstream means at the beginning stage. So it is done early. Example, before building factories, first check environmental impact of the plan itself. Not for one small project, it is done at a bigger level. It happens when we still have many choices and options. Example, choosing between industrial zone in area A or area B, SEIA helps decide which option is better. It's a proactive approach. Proactive means acting before problems happen. SEIA helps include environmental thinking early in planning. Then decisions are made by government policymakers, top level planners. So over here, higher level of decision making is there. So in diagram you can see first big plans are made, then SEIA checks environmental impact. After that, individual projects are started. So this slide shows how strategic EIA works in reality. So example is it talks about the Hyderabad Metro Railway project. So instead of studying just one station or one small part, SEIA studies the entire metro system. So main idea of this example is SEIA looks at the big picture, not one station, one small area, but whole metro network, whole city impact. So what impacts are considered? The arrows in the image shows different effects. So first is your environment or trees. Will trees be cut? Will green areas be affected? Then buildings or city. Will buildings be removed? Will traffic or urban structure change? Water or pollution? Will it affect rivers or water bodies? Will pollution increase or decrease? So thinking about the whole metro system impact, not just one station. So means SAIA studies overall impact, not small parts. Regional EIA. So this type of EIA focuses on a specific region or area, not one project but the whole area together. In the context of regional planning, means it is used when planning development for a larger area. For example, planning development for a city, district or region. Integrates environmental concerns into development planning for a geographic region. While planning development, we also consider environmental effects. Integrates means it combines together. Example, while building roads, industries, houses, also think about pollution, forests, and the water. Normally, the sub-country level means it is done at a level smaller than a country, like state, city, region, referred to as a economic cum environmental development planning. It combines economic development like money, growth, and environmental protection. Example, develop industries but also protect nature. It fulfills the need for macro level environmental integration. It works at a big level, means macro level. It looks at overall environmental impacts of the entire region. On the right side, you can see the map shows a region with many activities: factory, dam, roads, houses. Regional EIA studies all of them together. not separately. So at the bottom you can see economy plus environment is equal to balanced development. Regional EIA, why it matters. So why do we need regional EIA? What is its importance? So carrying capacity. It means how much load the environment can handle safely. Every region has a limit, how much pollution it can take, how many industries it can support, how much water can be used. Regional EIA helps combine economic development, means industries growth, with natural resources like water, trees, but within limits, that is, do not exceed what the environment can handle. For example, if a region can handle only 5 factories, building 10 factories will lead to pollution damage. Building 5 factories, it will create a balance with the environment. Then goal is the sustainable development. That is the development that does not harm the future. Cumulative effect. Now what is cumulative? It means combined effects of many things together. When we study a whole region, we can see the total impacts of all projects together, not just one project. For example, one factory will lead to small pollution, 5 factories, more pollution, 20 factories, very high pollution. So together it will create a big combined effect. But if we study projects one by one, we may miss the total damage. Regional EIA helps us see the full picture, which otherwise can be ignored. Sectoral EIA. Now, this type of EIA focuses on a specific sector or industry type. Examples of sectors includes mining, energy, agriculture, tourism, manufacturing. It takes place in the context of sectoral level planning. It is done when planning one particular sector, not whole region, not single project, only one industry type. For example, planning for the mining sector only. It addresses specific environmental problems, means it studies problems related to that sector only. It looks at planning implementation of that sector only. For example, if you are looking at mining sector, you will look at the land damage it can cause, water pollution, dust released from the same. Once sectoral concerns are addressed, projects are categorized into sectors. Means if we already study problems at sector level, then project level EIA becomes smaller and easier because many issues are already understood. All the projects are grouped based on the type of work, like mining sector, energy sector, agriculture sector. The Now here you can see the pie chart. Now this pie chart, it shows different sectors. One sector, that is mining. So in this sectoral EIA, for example, you will be studying about the mining sector. So sectoral EIA studies only this part. Like over here you are studying about sand mining, so this is part of the mining sector. So we will do sectoral EIA for mining, and in this you will study impacts like river damage, soil erosion, water pollution. Project level EIA, it is the most common type of EIA. It focuses on one single project. It refers to the developmental activity in isolation, means alone or separately. This project is studied by itself, not with other projects. For example, only studying one dam or one factory. It considers the impacts the project exerts on the receiving environment, means the surrounding area. It studies how the project affects land, water, air, plants and animals. Example, a factory may pollute nearby river or air. It may not effectively integrate cumulative effects, means it does not consider combined effects of many projects. It only looks at one project, not the total impact. For example, one factory would cause small pollution, but 20 factories will lead to bigger pollution. Larger pollution. Project level EIA may miss this total effect. It mainly depends on the line of activity. Means the study depends on type of project. Different projects have different impacts. For example, if the project is road based, it will lead to noise, dust problems. If it is factory based, air pollution problems, dam, water flow changes. So most life cycle assessment, this method studies the environmental impact of a product at every stages of its life, that is from beginning to the end. Environmental impact is not just at one stage, it happens at every step of the product's life. First is product design, planning how the product will be made, what materials will be used, how it will work. Development, turning the idea into a real product. Testing, preparing for production. Manufacturing, making the product in factories, uses energy, creates pollution. Packaging, packing the product, using plastic boxes, it can create waste. Distribution, transporting the product, trucks, ships, causes fuel use and pollution. Usage, when people use the product, like using electricity or resources. For example, mobile phone uses electricity while charging. Disposal, what happens after use? Waste, recycling or dumping. So it examines environmental impacts at all the stages. We study every step, not just once. So this is broader approach, means it is more complete and detailed. It looks at the full life, not just one part of it. What is the goal of LCA? Why we use LCA? The main goal of LCA is to reduce environmental impact at every stage of a product's life. Means we do not look at only one stage, we look at the entire process from beginning to end. If we improve only one stage, the problem is not fully solved. We must check all the stages together. For example, think about a plastic bottle. It is made in a factory, then transported, then used, and finally thrown away. If we reduce pollution only in the factory but ignore the plastic waste after use, the environment is still harmed. So LCA tells us to look at the complete picture, not just one part. In the graph you can see it shows the environmental impact is reducing over time. Means when we apply LCA, we keep improving and reducing damage step by step. Why do we use LCA? Let's understand the benefits. So first benefit is reduce total environmental cost. Here cost does not only mean money, it also means pollution, resource use and environmental damage. LCA helps reduce the overall impact of a product. Second benefit, it helps choose better options. It allows us to compare different methods. We can choose the option that causes less pollution and is more efficient. Example, one method may be expensive and harmful to the environment, another method may be cheaper and less harmful. So LCA helps us choose the better option. Third benefit, it helps us think of alternatives. It encourages better thinking. It makes us ask questions like, can we use better materials? Can we reduce waste? This helps in making smarter and more environmentally friendly decisions. So LCA is used to study the entire life of a product. Its goal is to reduce environmental impact at every stage. It also helps us choose better and more efficient solutions. So this slide gives you a quick comparison of different EIA levels. So the most important sentence on this slide is that EIA should be used at all the levels: strategic, regional, sectoral, project. It means one level is not enough. We need all the levels together for proper environmental planning. Strategic EIA, a structural change. It works at a very high level. It deals with policies, plans, big decisions. It can change the overall system or structure of development. For example, if a government changes its energy policy from coal to renewable energy, that is a structural change. Regional EIA. It involves substantial information processing and complex inferences. Means it deals with a large area or region. It needs a lot of data, careful analysis, understanding of combined impacts. Substantial information processing means handling a large amount of data. Complex inferences means making careful conclusions from that data. For example, studying the total environmental impacts of all the industries in a city. Project level EIA, it's relatively simple and reaches meaningful conclusions. It focuses on one single project. It is easier to study, more direct, and it gives clear results. For example, studying the impact of building or studying impact of one factory. Now each level has a different role. Strategic level works at the highest level, regional works at the area, sectoral at the industry, project level works at the individual project level. So all of them are connected and important. Okay, so what will happen in the future of EIA? As time goes on, impact assessment will become more advanced and more complete. This means as we develop more in science, technology, and planning, we will start using better planning methods when making decisions. We will think more carefully about resources, environment, long term effects. We will not study projects separately anymore. We will include full regional problems, combined impacts, bigger picture. In the future, EIA will automatically include regional analysis, long-term thinking, overall planning. Earlier we focused more on single projects, but now and in the future we will focus on regions, systems, total impact.